Is it so unusual? Is it right or wrong? When you think that nothing will surprise you, someone different comes along. Is it so unusual? Just a passing wind. Took me as he found me, and I found I took to him.
You look fine.
A bucket of water on top of the kitchen door again.
Yes, I thought it wasn't raining.
That's it. That's it. I've had it up to here with your terrible kids. Goodbye. Adieu. Adios. Cheerio. Ciao. Ta-ta. Toodlepip. Fare thee well.
You're leaving. Contain yourself, restrict yourself, restrain yourself, and always let tranquility be your role. Control yourself, contain yourself, and if you can't explain yourself, just try to act agreeably on the whole. Now, don't do anything hasty.
Hasty?
Another hamster's dead, Mum.
Oh, never mind, Rupert. You know how you love a funeral.
This home is a madhouse!
What a show-off! Bye-bye, honey. Bye-bye, honey. You know what this means, don't you? Another flipping ad in the Times. See you in the funny papers. You'll be there, don't worry, my friend.
And that's for taps, our nooks and crannies, cooker knobs. Ah. I know you think this is unnecessary, Clara, but just remember where they've been. Thrown on the scrap heap after 35 years. We're replacing you with a computer, Mr. Pym. I tell you, Clara, that was the final humiliation. Years of caring, years of loyalty count as nothing beside the virtues of a floppy disk. And what else am I any good at? I run our wee home, if I may say so myself, impeccably. Yes. Yes, I do, don't I? Service industries. That's what saved America. Maybe that's a dubious recommendation, but it's given me an idea, Clara. Domestic and catering staff, that's what we need, Clara. Domestic and catering. Ah. Experienced chauffeur, experienced gardener, experienced couple. No, you need two for that as far as I can remember. Saintly home help required. Are you cheerful? Well, I could be if it was essential. Good-natured. Again, affirmative. After all, I put up with Muriel for 14 years before she left me. If so, lady journalist, children and pets need you.
Flipping cheese on toast. I don't know why you can't be like the rest of us and like nice, juicy junk.
I'm considering being a vegetarian. I mean, it wouldn't be very nice to eat my pony, would it?
Oh, I don't know.
Come on, phone someone.
Is that a child or a pet?
No. This is Tommy Clousier spoken.
Good gracious, possibly human. I'm telephoning about the advertisement in today's copy of the Times.
Oh, yeah. Mum, for you.
Not now, Pet, I'm cooking.
Yeah, but it's about now for the home help.
Oh. Ask them how about tomorrow afternoon at 3 if possible.
Tomorrow afternoon at 3.
If that was a pet, it was definitely not house cleaning.
You shouldn't speak to people like that, Kevin. It's the height of bad manners.
Mum, toast burning.
Oh, flipping out. Oh, look. Kevin, make Trina open her eyes. She's about to shove a chip up her nose.
It's no good looking at me like that, Clara. The deed is done. Oh, dear Clara. I do so miss your sweet tweeting since, for once to use our colloquialism correctly, since you fell off your perch. You know, Clara, I think the only way I could have borne to go on living with Muriel would have been if she had benefited from the art of the taxidermist.
Come true, coming to me. Could it be? Yes, it could. Something's coming, something good. If I can wait, something's coming. I don't know what it is, but it is gonna be great. Hear the click. Boom will jingle. Door will knock. Open the latch.
It's not going to rain, you know.
You can never be too careful. Advice perhaps your mother should have taken. My name is Pym. I have a 3 o'clock appointment with your mother. The big hand is on 12, the little hand is on 3. Kindly inform your mother I've arrived.
She's in a study. I'm facing you at the end of the hall.
Thank you.
I can tell the time, you know.
A good boy. Who knows, one day you might even progress to applying soap and water to your face.
Doors open, come in. Sit down, dear. Take the weight off your feet.
Thank you.
Who the hell are you?
George Pym, I have a 3 o'clock appointment.
I doubt it. I've got a home help coming at 3.
Yes, me.
But you're a man.
So I've been led to believe.
Please don't muck about. I'm desperate for proper help to run this house. You wouldn't believe how difficult it is to find.
Oh, but I would. I've met your children.
Well, round one to you, George.
I prefer to be addressed as Mr. Pym. Start as we mean to go on. One wouldn't wish to become intimate.
No, one wouldn't. In any case, we're not going on. Look, I'm sorry about the misunderstanding. I'll pay all your expenses, but I've got to have a woman for this job.
Excuse me, madam, but you're Miss Daisy Lane-Clousier, aren't you?
The one and only.
I thought I recognized you. I do so enjoy your column. So modern, so outspoken.
Thank you.
And I saw you last week talking to Mr. Wogan. You were so fervent about equal opportunity.
Oh, yes.
For men as well as women.
Round 2 to you as well, George. Mr. Pym. Kevin! Oh, heck, you can't hear yourself think in this house. Kevin! Turn that thing down, Kevin! Well, I don't suppose there's anything wrong with kids that telling them we're made worse. Well, it's half term, the whole brood's at home.
Allow me, madam.
Yeah, but where are you going?
To reduce the decibel level.
Really? Good Lord! His room's just at the
It's
top
all
of the...
right, madam. I'll just follow my eardrum.
Don't let his hair pull you up. You had it done with his birthday money.
The next next time your mother tells you to do something, do it.
It stopped. How the heck did you manage it?
I reasoned with him.
Do you know, you might be right for this job after all. Well, if we can agree terms and you really want it.
Madam, as the choice seems to be between this job and spending the rest of my life counting my redundancy pay, I'll gird up my loins.
Well, don't overdo it or you'll end up singing soprano. Well, you're going to be really, really happy here. Just like one of the family. Bring anything you want, won't you?
Oh, thank you, but I've never been one for knickknacks. I shall, of course, wish to bring Clara.
Clara?
My bud.
You dirty old devil.
Clara, madam, is my canary.
Oh, I see. Well, if Clara's coming here, she'd better take out a life insurance policy. We've got 3 cats.
They won't bother her. Clara fears no more the heat of the sun or the furious winter's rages.
Pardon?
Clara passed over 3 years ago.
Look, am I cuckoo? Or are we talking about a canary?
I had her stuffed. There was someone to talk to, you see.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do see. Okay, now you're here, why not meet the children properly? Cheer up. They're not as bad as you think.
Madam, that does come as a relief.
Now, and put that little boy down. His ears stick out enough as it is. They're on their way. Are you a Roman Catholic?
Not yet.
And this is Perdita.
Oh, Perdita. Now, that's a pretty name.
Not if you look like I do.
Oh, darling, it's just puppy fat. You'll soon grow out of it, you'll see. When I was 15, I was really, really chubby. And when I was 16, I was really, really slim.
Yeah, and when you were 17, you was really, really pregnant.
And you can tell by our names, Treen and Kev, that we were born before Mum came upwardly mobile. Perdita and Rupert came along when Mum was married to Crispian. And we were so posh, we even had designer loo paper.
Kids, Mr Pym is going to take over from Mrs Harper.
What?
Yes. Men can do housework. Why should women have all the fun?
Look after us.
Yes?
And do the cooking.
Yep.
Are you gay or something?
Gay, sunny, I rarely even smile.
There may be teardrops to shed, but while there's music and moonlight and love and romance, it's just the music and dance. There may be trouble ahead.
Well? Yeah, it was quite nice, Mr Pym. What did you say it was?
Lancashire hot pot.
Nearly as good as a burger.
Praise indeed.
What's for pudding?
Please.
What's for pudding, please?
Loganberry flummery.
What's that?
Nectar of the gods.
Oh, well, I'll try anything once. Give me a shout when it's ready.
We don't behave like that anymore, do we, Rupert? It's quite simple, young man. Do you behave well or badly? Your decision governs whether or not you have any pudding. Good boy. Now, what do we say?
Please, may I leave the table?
Excellent.
Great.
The answer is no. It's bad manners and bad for your digestion. Sit.
You run high security prison before you came here?
Certainly. And no one ever escaped.
Gosh, Mr Pym, am I glad I don't start my dart until tomorrow.
Have you ever been married, Mr Pym?
Once, a long time ago.
And it didn't work out?
Precisely.
Why not?
Needs you ask.
I suppose because in marriage you get the pudding first. Ah, your mother will have finished her work. Only 1 second helping of pudding, Rupert. Believe me, if you have more than one, I shall know.
I bet he's got any bugs.
Enter! Oh, right on the button, Mr P. I've just finished. Do you know, I reckon in a former life you must have been an egg timer.
Possibly, madam. But I must admit that reincarnation has never appealed to me. Imagine spending all eternity working one's way up from being a grub. It must be most gratifying, madam, to open the newspaper the day after tomorrow and see a whole page devoted to the wit and wisdom of Daisy Lane-Clousier.
Sure is, Mr Pym. I'm an overnight success and it only took me 10 years to achieve it.
I hope this is to your liking.
Oh, thanks. Do you know, the first one of the day is always the best. I suppose that applies to a lot of things, especially on a Sunday when it's raining.
I beg your pardon?
Never mind.
I put a little less vodka in than usual.
Why?
For your own good, I want to keep you in trim for when Mr. Right comes along.
Mr Pym, I have been married twice and I know that 2 Mr Wrongs won't lead to a Mr Right.
Very well, on your own hips be it.
Look, Mr Pym, believe me, it never works out with me and men.
Why?
They always leave me.
Yes, I do see that is something of a handicap if you're wanting to establish a lasting relationship.
That's when I came to London, when my first husband dumped me. Of course, I wasn't Daisy Lane-Clousier then. Real name, Sharon Potts.
Sharon Potts?
Oh, it doesn't have much of a ring to it, does it?
More like a death knell, madam. So what happened when your first husband left you?
Well, I cried buckets. And then I thought, well, this is it, doll. Fate. You're on your own and you're going for the big time. So I packed the kids, the dog and the gerbils into my old banger and headed south. 'Cause London's where it's at.
It may have escaped your notice, madam, but you're in Bath.
Oh, yes, but London's where it's at on the way up. And when you've made it, you prove it by leaving it. So I went west. I thought, well, if it's good enough for young Rose and Jilly Cooper, then it's good enough for me. Can you top me up, please, Mr P?
Dr. Samuel Johnson remarked that when a man is tired of London, he is tired of life.
Yeah, well, Dr. Samuel Johnston was never clamped, mugged and steamed. Dr. Samuel Johnson was never gazumped, gentrified and grouped. Dr. Samuel Johnson... Yes?
I get your drift. I must say it's the most unusual name you've chosen now. How did you settle on it?
Daisy Lane-Clousier? Oh, well, I wanted something classy. You know, like a Janet Street Porter or Linda Lee Potter.
Who?
Well, if you don't know, I'm certainly not going to tell you. Anyway, I was halfway down the M1, just past Junction 5, and I saw it. Lane-Clousier. Lane-Closure. Lane-Clousier. Well, it's a familiar ring and classy.
What a mercy you didn't encounter a major diversion. You'd have had to join the army. And Daisy?
Oh, I got that from the Mitfords. I decided to overlook fascism in the interest of style.
Oh, if only Mr. Chamberlain hadn't done the same thing.
Oh, heck, it's he.
He? Who he?
Another of your attributes, Mr. Pym. You can speak Chinese. He is my date, and we've been talking, and I'm late, and look at this mess.
I'll show him into the sitting room.
Are you mad? My kids are in there watching telly. I want to break them to him gently, and one at a time. Oh, heck. Oh, quick, these tights. Show them behind the cushion.
What are a pair of tights doing in your study in the first place?
I didn't like the colour.
That's a silly question. This man...
Which man?
Your date.
Don't get so excited.
I take it his intentions are honourable.
Oh, I hope not. Relax, I was joking. Basically, I'm a very old-fashioned girl. I've only ever slept with 2 men, and I married both of them. Although I have to admit it was in that order. Hold the fort, Mr. P, I'm going to sit today.
Who the hell are you? George Pym, the home help. Who the hell are you?
None of your bloody business, George. Is Daisy in?
I will inquire as to whether or not Miss Lane-Clousier is at home.
Don't give me any of that mashed banana. Daisy! Darling! Yoo-hoo!
I'd ask to take your coat, sir, but I doubt that you'll be stopping. If you care to wait in Miss Lane-Clousier's office, I'll see if she's receiving.
But I don't
It
think
could be that she's popped out for several years.
You know something, Georgie? I don't like you.
What a relief. If you wanted to be my friend, I feel I should have been obliged to commit suicide. Excuse me.
I like dressing up for an evening ball or a special brawl in a fancy shawl and my silly, silly frock. I'm a big bet you go knick-a-knack-a-knock, knick-a-knack-a-knock, knick-a-knack-a-knock.
Madam, the gentleman is waiting for you.
Bloody hell! That's no gentleman. That was my husband.
Your health, Daisy darling.
Can I have another Bloody Mary, please, Mr. P? I think I'm going to need it.
I was just driving down to join Triss on his shoot, and so
Oh, there's Posh. Don't shoot any rats. It would be fratricide.
Daisy. Dearest Daisy.
Good alliteration, but the sentiment stinks. You left me, remember? And by the way, how is the Honourable Sarah?
Oh, Daisy, I don't see a lot of Sarah anymore.
Why? Has she started to wear a nightdress?
You're Bloody Mary. Perhaps I should leave now.
No, you stay. I may need witnesses. Okay, how much?
Oh, Daisy, why on earth should you think that the reason I've come to
Because
see you
that's
is that
the only reason you ever come here. You never come to see your kids. And quite frankly, from the first moment I was fool enough to fall for you, you saw me as a meal ticket. And that hurt, Crispin. It really hurt.
I knew I shouldn't have let him in. A man who smells of aftershave at 6 p.m. has to be a bounder.
here, George.
It's he, who he?
The insurance man.
Good thinking. Keep him occupied for a few minutes, Mr. Pym. Inspect his assets or something. Mr. P, no children. It might affect my endowment policy. It's always money, isn't it?
Talking money's all you...
We'll need a new battery for that bell by the end of this evening.
I'm vulgar, aren't I, darling?
Oh, thank you so much.
What do you think you're doing?
I'll put them in water for Miss Lane-Clousier. You are?
Peter Henderson, Daisy is expecting me.
At least I'm not a snob.
No, you're a scrubber.
Not even.
I've told the children time and time again not to watch Dempsey and Makepeace.
Has he started wearing pyjamas? The children?
Oh, yes. There's a little-known fact about Miss Lane-Clousier. She's something of a philanthropist. Once a week she takes pity of some of the neighborhood's disadvantaged children and invites the little brats in to watch television. That was some of them.
You crumb.
Oh, watch it, Daisy. I might just change my mind about custody.
I wonder if you'd care to come and wait in my room for a few minutes.
What for?
I thought you might like to see my stuffed canary.
About the boy. I know it's stupid to be mad about the boy. I'm feeling quite insane and young again, and all because I'm mad about the boy.
I suppose you realize what time it is. 2:30 a.m.
Mr. Pym, you shouldn't have waited on.
I was worried.
Why? Did you think I might have got run over and wasn't wearing a clean vest?
I appreciate it's none of my business, but...
No. It was very kind. Thank you. Good night.
I've got the kettle on, if you fancy a cup of tea.
Mr. Pym, you're an angel.
You sit by the agger. It's always warm. I'll make the tea. You have a good time?
Great. We had dinner at Wood's. And then we drove over to Glastonbury. It looked wonderful in the moonlight. Anyway, we just walked and talked and walked and talked.
Will you be seeing him again?
No,
Oh, why?
his wife wouldn't like it.
I don't approve of young women going out with married men.
Well, neither do I. I didn't find out myself until late this evening. Oh, Mr Pym, I don't know, I'll pick her.
Oh, here, madam. Thanks to a cup of tea, we British have always risen above our misfortunes.
Thank you. Do you know, when you came to look after the kids, I never dreamed you'd have to look after me as well.
Well, it's a funny thing, madam, but
Yes?
I did.
Trying to succeed when you're living a life that's full of the spirit. Who wants success when there's no one to share it? Have I found a friend who's going to last? Stranger things have happened in love.